Calculating slope when given 2 points, when given a graph, when given a table, when given a word problem, or when given an equation. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to do that. So your paper really should look like this so that you have everything in one spot. It doesn't hurt to have everything in this order here. And as you can see, I used graph paper. I just cut it out and I taped it over here. So that might help in your notebook. So let me zoom in here. We're going to do all of them. I'm going to start with 2 points. Okay, so if we're given 2 points, apologize for it shaking there. Okay, so if we're given 2 points, we are going to use the slope formula, which is, so m is slope, and remember we're doing it in slope-intercept. So we have an m here, so we're going to do m equals. So the difference of the y coordinates of the 2 points divided by their x coordinates. And it really does not matter which one you label x1 and y1 and which ones you label x2 and y2. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this, one with a formula and one with stacking the points. So let's just say this is x1 and y1 and this is x2 and y2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plug it in. So we have our slope, m equals y2. Remember our formula is minus, so if there's a negative, it's minus a negative. So we have y2 minus y1, so 6 minus 2. And then we use their x's right below them, so the 4 goes below the 6. This formula is subtracting, and this is a negative 3. Put in that second negative sign, otherwise your slope's going to go the wrong direction. Okay, then we do the math. 6 minus 2 is 4. And 4 minus negative 3 is the same thing as 4 plus 3, which is 7. If I can reduce this fraction, I do that, or if it's fully divisible, you go ahead and do that. In this case, the only factor they have in common is 1, so our slope is 4 over 7. So this would be our rise over our run. So another way to do it is just to take these 2 points, and you're still using technically this formula, but it might be easier for you to see. So if you take, let's go ahead and put 4, 6, and then below it the negative 3, 2, and remember these are your x's and these are your y's. We're going to do rise over run, which is y over x when we're done, and we're subtracting. So we're doing 4 minus negative 3, which remember is a positive 7 because it's like adding, and 6 minus 2, which is 4. This is your 7 is your x coordinate, and or your difference of your x's, and 4 is the difference of your y's. It's y over x. So the difference of the y's was 4, and the difference of the x's is 7. So that's how you do it with if you are given 2 points. Now if you're given a graph, so let's say on your graph you don't have the dots on there, then you want to make sure you go up the line until you see where the line passes in the corner of the graph paper square. So like right here, it doesn't pass there, so I cannot guarantee what point this is. It looks like a half here, but I can't guarantee that unless I do the math. This is definitely not there, but this is. So we're going to use these 2 points and we're going to make a right triangle. And remember with this, your directionality. When you have your y's, those go up and down. And when you have your x's, those go right and left. So the up and to the right are positive directions, and down and to the left are negative directions. So watch when I do this. When I actually say down, I'm going to write a negative sign. So I'm actually going to go from here to here, but you could go this direction, go this direction, go this way, or this way. As long as you're going, keep going in one movement, and you don't go this way and then come back down to where they meet, because you'll have your slope in the wrong direction. So I'm actually going to take this point, I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to go to the left. So I'm going down, and I'm going to go down how many graph paper squares I have. So 1, 2, 3, and I went down, so I went down 3, and then I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to the left 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went to the left, and because I went to the left, that's a negative direction. I went to the left 4, and it's rise over run. So my slope is my rise of negative 3 over my run of negative 4. And remember that a negative divided by a negative is really a positive, so this is actually positive 3/4. You can also tell from the way the graph is going. So as my x's get bigger, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, my y's are also getting bigger. That's a positive slope. If I go the other direction, as my x's are getting bigger, my y's are actually getting smaller because they're now in the negative zone. So that's another way to tell if you have the right sign when you're doing slope. All right, so let's say I get a wonderful table of information. So what I have to pay attention to are what they're skip counting by, because if these are not skip counting by 1, then I'm going to have to do a division. So what I need to do for slope is the same thing as if I had 2 points. I'm going to take 2 points because these are technically ordered pairs. I am going to take the 2 of these points and I'm going to do the math. I'm actually going to show you ones that are not next to each other so that you understand that they're not always over 1. So I'm actually going to take these 2 right here. Okay, so I'm still doing the difference of my y's divided by the difference of my x's. So remember that these are ordered pairs. This is technically a 5, 34, and this is a 7, 46. So x's and y's. All right, so I'm going to do the math. So I'm just going to take this one. So let's say this is y2. So 46 minus the other y, which is 34, over their x's. So 7 went with the 46, 5 went with the 34. Remember, we're subtracting. So then I do 46 minus 34, and we'll just use our calculator for that. 46 minus 34, 12. All right, so that's 12, and it's positive, and 7 minus 5 is a positive 2. Okay, when I do 12 divided by 2, I get 6. So my slope is actually positive 6. Now remember, if you need to do rise over run to graph, you need to do, you have your rise and your run needs to be over 1. So if you're graphing, you would rise 6 and you would run 1. And you go to the right one because they're both positive. Okay, here's how you calculate slope. Let me get out a little bit. There we go. If you have a word problem. So if we have a word problem, I'm actually going to write the equation to this word problem down here, and we'll use that to determine slope. Okay, so if I have a word problem, I need to read through it, and I need to figure out what they've given me. Okay, so I see, and I'm going to put it into y equals mx plus b. So they rent a canoe for $15 per hour. They pay $25 for life jackets, and they paid a total of $75. So I can tell you right now that the $75 is my total, or my y. Okay, then I have my m and my b, because my x is going to be how many hours they rented the canoe. So this is hours of rental. Okay, my slope is going to be the thing that gets multiplied by the number of hours. So do I have to pay for life jackets every hour that we're out in the canoe? No, this is the one-time charge, so this is my b, and my slope is going to be the thing that I multiply by the hour, which is 15. Okay, so my slope, I can tell, is the m here. If I had an equation, so let's say they gave me the equation for this, which is y equals 15x plus 25, I can tell you just by looking at the equation, if they give me an equation, that my slope is 15 because it's in the spot of the m, and the m represents the slope.